Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. I wanted to cover a discussion related to the attached pronouns. It's something that might, when a person is piecing the pronouns together in the attached state, they might be confused by it. So this is more of a clarification that I want to make. And this comes in for the pronoun that I've got written here, first person singular pronoun in the attached state. And if you remember, if you go back to the tables, it's the ya, which is also sometimes called the ya al-mutakallim, the ya of the speaker, of the first person. And, it's translated as me or my. So when it comes to particles, right? When it comes to particles, you have lam, li, harf jar, and it means for, and you add the ya mutakallim, and you get li. Let's look at that here. That's the lam. Then we go and add the ya. So li. Okay. So that means for me. Okay. That's one meaning. Then let's look at the noun, how the ya is attached to the other nouns, this pronoun. So we'll take that as kitab, the famous example that we keep using. So it's easy for people to relate to. Kitabun, right? And then we add again the ya of mutakallim, the first person, singular pronoun in the attached state. And now we go and attach it. So it becomes kita. And then, so the bun, the tanween drops because there's a ya coming after it. So there's some transformations that take place in the language. These are the rules of the language. So kitabi, it becomes kitabi. So the bun, if you notice here, kitabun, when it's coming with the ya, it's changed into a kasra because there's a ya after it. So that's kitabi. Okay, that means translation is my book. My book. But when it comes to verbs, then the discussion is a little bit different. So what happens when it comes to verb, let's take a verb here, and I know we haven't covered the verbs yet at all, actually, just we have mentioned them in passing. One of the verbs here we can look at is a fourth form verb, is akrama, is he honored. And the verbs are, typically, when you go to the dictionary, you'll find them in the third person masculine form. So he honored. Now that's if you're going to attach the ya of mutakallim to that, right? I'm going to write it below it because it's not how it's going to be, but what ends up happening is this turns out to be akrama. The meme comes, and now you're going to attach the ya if you just follow the rules, and becomes akramay. But the rules of the language actually tell us that when it comes to attaching the verb and the ya mutakallim, we're actually going to insert a letter in there. And that's where when you find, and then let me write it down here. So that letter is noon. And it's actually called the noonul viqaya. It's a protective noon. That's how it's referred to in the language. Now, let's go through and see how that will look like. So this will be akrama. So up to here, the verb is as it is, right? And actually, I'm going to it's akrama, and then we're going to add the noonul viqaya. We're going to add the noonul viqaya to it, and becomes akramani, and then it's the ya here. So it's akramani. So this is the insertion that takes place in the verb, okay? Akramani, which is what we've been talking about. So I just wanted to mention that so people are not confused when they're reading it. I know when we cover the verbs, this will come through, inshallah, and you'll see it and observe it. But be familiar with the rule. In the attached form, you are going to see this. And there's another insertion that takes place in the in the verb when it's wow. It's typically, so inshallah I'll talk about that later, but the wow is also inserted in some cases. For instance, it would be darabtumuhum, darabtum, and darabtumuhum. So that's darabtum. So, but when we cover the verbs, inshallah, it'll be an easier discussion to follow there. Let's stick to this one concept in this video, and then inshallah, when the time comes, I'll share that one. So, akramai is actually not correct. It's akramani, and the translation will be he honored me. Okay, so inshallah, that is a clarification. This lesson is just done to ensure there is no confusion when people are attaching verbs to the first person singular pronoun. Okay, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu.